In the ancient era of feudal Japan, orcs stormed the capital, annihilating all in front of them. A man riding a spiritual dragon of his own creation arrives. In the air flows paper talismans that explode on impact. His dragon is able to eat some of the orcs. Ever since the man was a child, he sought after power, saying he needs more power. But on that night, his students were held hostage. The very strongest exorcist to ever exist in the world is murdered by the jealous members of the Imperial Court. But before his consciousness fades away, he casts the spell of reborn, or rebirth, to have a second chance at life, this time a better life. He awakens in an alternate world as Seika, son of the noble Blaise Lamperouge, but he cannot use his magic from his past world. However, Seika has retained his exorcist powers and demon servants, but he hides this from the rest of his family, hoping to cultivate a happier life here by becoming a more cunning and hidden fighter. His brother Gray bullies him, as Seika was born from the Blaise's mistress. His older brother, Luft, is much more kinder, but he won't directly interfere. His only friend in the household is the family slave, Effa. Gray is not only rude to him, but to Effa, continually reminding her of her position, being the rich, noble jerk type. His brother gloats about how he's going to have to study, since he's going to be representing his family in the Magical Academy, saying the best that Seika could probably hope for is entering the army. Their father, Blaise, questions what Gray is doing right now, and reminds him that he has magic training today. Seika asks to see their magic training. Blaise is hesitant, but agrees. After learning about Lodonia Magic Academy, Seika uses his powers over the 6 elements, that being water, fire, earth, air, light, and shadow, to try and simulate magical power. The oldest son is first, commanding wind magic to come forth. Wind Edge, saying so as he destroys his first target. Next is Gray, using a fireball, chanting a monologue about the boy's power and rage, cringely doing so like most boys his age would do. Gray walks up to him after finishing, making a comment to Seika, saying he should try and do one too, since their father's watching them. Seika was born without any magic, and Gray was doing this to make fun of him. The oldest brother tells him to stop, but Seika agrees to do so. Seika comments how he didn't want to show up here just to show off his power, but people like Gray are known for taking advantage of the weak, so he summons his key from this past world, causing a blue Oni fireball to come forth, destroying the rock and the target it sat on. All of his family is shocked. After this, Seika wishes to study magic, like his brothers, but Blaise denies this, saying people who are deemed magicless can create different variations of their power and spells, but never become great successes. But he does allow him to study. A time skip happens, and one night, Seika is able to summon his first Ayakashi, being his weakest one. Chanting, he summons the white fox, Hudagitsune, who's more than happy to see him, tackling him. Of course, the fox is still addressing him by his former title, and Seika tells her to stop, wanting her to call him by a new name now. Outside his room in the hallway, Effa spills some water on Gray, getting him quite upset. As Effa bows to apologize to him, Gray calms down, doing so while staring at her chest. Getting a mischievous smile on his face, he has an idea. He leans in closer, calling for her to come back to his room tonight, so she can be taught the proper way a slave should behave. In Gray's own mind, he believes that he's handled the situation like a suave, but Effa is absolutely terrified, not knowing what she should do in this position. Seika sees all of this, and he isn't shocked by Gray's actions, saying he is around this age where he's curious about women. Seika claims that he also has some business with the maid. Gray is angered by his arrogant tone and attacks him, but he's swiftly stopped. Outside, Seika discovers that Effa can see Ayakashis and is able to use magic by commanding the spirits of nature, so he trains her in secret. An elder Nude attacks a nearby city and rampages through it, and makes his way to the mansion. In front of dozens of witnesses, Gray hides like a coward, but Seika kills the monster, doing so with a poisonous curse, disguising the attack as fire magic. The giant salamander is defeated, as everyone is cheering for Seika, with him doing so just as Blaise is coming back home to witness this. At dinner, Blaise offers Seika a reward, so the boy asks to attend the academy. Gray protests this idea. Blaise agrees to his request. Seika then asks for one more request, having this already in mind. He asks for Effa to also accompany him at the academy, under the guise of his servant. The girl is absolutely shocked by his idea, having not been told in advance by his thoughts. Blaise reminds the boy that she has no magical power, so the answer is no. Seika tells his father to just simply watch, and in front of the entire family, the girl performs Flame Knot, creating a large flame, being so big they can't even comprehend the power of it. The spell she just did was a mid-rank spell, with no one believing that a novice could perform it. Blaise has seen enough of this, and agrees that she can go to the academy with them. Gray can't take their father serious, reminding them that their famous clan has never had 2 brothers join the same academy. Gray in his tirade demeans the both of them, reminding them of their positions from birth, calling them failures. No one in the room bats an eye from what he's saying. Blaise agrees that They're going to uphold their family's traditions, and decides that Gray will instead enlist into the army. Gray is shocked, and of course protests this idea. Blaze first reminds him that he has a very strong and athletic body, so he'll be perfectly fine joining the army. Gray says that's not the point, reminding him that he also is very strong and athletic, true, but can also do magic. But Blaze simply asked him, what has he done in the last couple years leading up to representing their family at the academy? Point blankly asking him, has he been studying as hard as he should have? Gray has no answer for that, knowing the truth. Angered, Gray demands to duel Seika right now. Blaze allows this, saying he'll witness this firsthand, and the winner will go represent their family at the Magical Academy. Luft is proud of his brother, giving Seika a present for him, with this being a pin. Leaving, a gust of wind hits Seika's window, with this interruption coming from Gray, demanding they fight right now. Seika questions shouldn't they have their father witness this duel, but Gray is adamant they fight this second. Gray challenges Seika for the place to go to, Lodia Academy. Gray tries multiple spells, but they're all stopped by Seika's light barrier. Seika pulls out a paper ornament that is in sync with Gray's body, and he coldly destroys it, with it seeming like he broke his arm, telling him to surrender. He then tells his brother to go in the morning to see their father, and tell him that he forfeits his right to go to the academy. Seika is revealed to have cunningly arranged this outcome, with him being the one that sent the Newt to attack the city and the mansion, being a true monster. As Seika and Effa are departing for the academy, Blaze recalls Seika isn't actually his son, but his nephew, son of his brother Gilbert, who disappeared into the demon's territory. Blaze has long suspected that Seika's mother was a demon herself, meaning Seika has the potential to become the next demon king, though he hopes that his trip to the academy will send him down the right path to not turn against them. With Seika now her owner, Effa expects to join him in bed, but the boy shows no interest in her. At the entrance exam, Seika encounters Amu, a commoner girl with the magical power and abilities. Seika is surprised that Amu is identical to his own position in his previous life. Seeing her future, he feels like she's going to be pressured and eventually killed by the Imperial Court, just like he was. At the practical exam, Effa and Seika outperform everyone except for Amu, who scores the highest with all 4 elements, plus light and dark magic, causing her instructors to suspect that she's the next hero. Effa's disappointed that she's going to be expected to live in the girls' dormitory, and she won't be allowed to serve Seika at night, with him being in the boys' dormitory. Seika notices a dark magical circle on the academy grounds, deciding to leave several talismans to keep an eye on them. During the opening ceremony, the circle summons 3 lesser demons to attack the academy. Seika manages to slip away, doing so to confront the creator of the magical circle, this being a demon called Gallius. Free of witnesses, Seika is able to freely use his exorcist powers and manipulates Gallius into revealing his plan into trying to kill the hero. Seika easily defeats Gallius, then feeds him alive to his demon servant, Mizuchi the dragon. Seika finds that due to him not having all of his old strength, Mizuchi actually tries to kill him before being sealed away. Amu is able to kill all the lesser demons, but this only causes people to regard her with fear. Seika is pleased by her performance, hoping that becoming the hero's friends, he'll be able to stand out less, and he'll be able to keep her safe in making sure she won't go down the same path he did. Despite Seika's efforts, Amu has no interest in being his friend. Seika and Effa narrowly avoid being doused by the demon blood, with this coming from a clumsy teacher, Cordell. Amu and Seika trip a magical circle trap and are transported into a nearby dungeon. Amu is knocked unconscious by some trolls, allowing Seika to freely summon his demon servant, Giant Centipede, killing them all. When Amu awakens, she's grateful for the help, but reveals that she has a headache. The boy identifies this as she has a potential fatal curse on her, which he transfers over to a talisman of his, saving her life. Grateful, Amu starts to open up to him, with her having a bit of a loose sense of humor and a passion for fighting, with this coming from her days as an adventurer. Because of this though, most people find her disturbing, though Seika finds her passion very useful. After defeating the dungeon boss, they loot it for the mithril sword, giving to Amu, as well as the magical ring. After returning to the academy, Seika secretly confronts Cordell, who's revealed to be the devil's servant, sent here to assassinate Amu, with a demon curse, with this coming from the blood of the demon. Seika uses the substitute Amu talisman to reflect Amu's curse back onto Cordell, killing him. Seika gives the dungeon ring to Effa, confirming that it increases her magical control over spirits. Amu returns back to treating Seika very coldly, but still becomes friends with Effa. A whole year later, Seika, Amu, and Effa are best friends, and there have been no further attempts of assassinating Amu. The academy principal asks Seika to participate in a combated tournament in the capital city, along with the new student, Mabel Crane. Amu's upset that she wasn't chosen, but the principal insists that Seika and Mabel should go, due to her having an ulterior motive. Mabel later provokes Amu into attacking her, and she defeats her in a sword duel, utterly humiliating the girl. She also warns Seika that the combat in the tournament will be real, with participants frequently dying, telling him not to enter. Arriving in the capital city, Seika has his first match and defeats the mercenary swordsman, Dennis, doing so with a talisman disguised as wind magic, joining Effa and Amu in the stands. Seika watches the first match between Belen, a student from another academy, and Kyle, a bodyguard from Rugrok Merchants Association. The audience is horrified as Kyle mercilessly kills the young boy, who makes no attempt of defending himself. With his expertise in curses, Seika realizes that Belen had actually been paralyzed by Kyle, with him having a cursed evil eye, making the killing even worse, as the paralysis by itself was enough to win the match. Seika suspects that Kyle may be a merchant's assassin. After Mabel wins her first match, Seika's intrigued by her, with the audience referring to Mabel as the hero. That night, Seika captures a demon's human spy and interrogates him with his psychic demon servant, Satori, learning that he was spying on Mabel, whom the demon also believed to be the hero from her birth date and the red hair. After letting Satori eat the spy alive, Seika is left confused. Amo is undoubtedly the hero, so he suspects that Mabel is at the center of all this conspiracy, and she's made to appear as the hero, but why? Well, they're attracting the demon's attention away from Amu, I guess. Assuming that her purpose here is to attract the demon's attention away from Amu, Kyle wins his next match. With another merciless kill, the young knight, Rhaenys, becomes very popular with the audience. Mabel warns Seika she absolutely must win the tournament, so he has to forfeit, or she's gonna have to kill him in the semifinals. Kyle almost kills his next opponent, but is stopped by the judges, who already declare Kyle as the winner. Seika notices that Kyle uses gravity magic, just like Mabel. That night, Mabel attacks Seika in his room, with her failing to kill him. Intrigued by this, Seika chases after her. Seika deduces that Mabel was just trying to injure him just enough that he would forfeit the next tournament match. Mabel confirms that she was trying to face against Kyle, with them both being slave soldiers from the merchants, who ordered Mabel to let Kyle kill her, letting the demons believe the hero had died, while also demonstrating Kyle's values. During his training, his brain was engraved with magic to making him the perfect soldier, and never to question his orders or hesitate. And if he kills the hero, he will prove his value. Seika deduces that Mabel is Kyle's sister, having dyed her hair to pose as the hero, and she actually intends to kill Kyle in order to end the boy's suffering, starting to reveal her own past. Deciding that she can't let Mabel kill her own brother, Seika defeats Mabel in their match. Then afterwards, defeats Kyle, who asks Seika for Mabel's forgiveness, but a curse from the Merchants Guild kills Kyle for his failure. After Kyle's funeral, Seika convinces Mabel to attend the academy as a real student this time. Seika congratulates the principal for her scheme, knowing Seika would win the entire tournament, thus depriving the merchants of Kyle and gaining Mabel back as a very powerful student for their empire. Mabel returns back to her original appearance, with her having silver hair and a much different personality, but she becomes horrified by Seika's and Effa's sadistic tutoring methods to make up for her being a whole year behind the rest of her classmates. Seika is asked to investigate the strange behavior of Ostilia's kingdom's guardian dragon, which has protected the kingdom for many generations, doing so ever since the past queen helped raise it. Ostilia's new prince, Celio, is a bit of an airhead, with him being entranced by Effa's beauty, and invites her to join his harem, being the king's royal harem, warning the audience that he's the type to not give up. Seika decides to let Effa choose for herself if she would like to join the harem or not, with him seeing the benefits that it could have for a young woman. Having the next crown prince give her such an offer and rare opportunity, as her master, he has to let her consider such an option. Arriving in the kingdom, the dragons attack their carriage, but is then driven away by Zech, an arrogant mage mercenary that Celio has hired. Seika scolds Effa for freezing in battle when he knows that she is more incapable of defending herself. Celio wants for him to ease up on her, but he simply tells the prince to mind his own business. After investigating Astilio's royal library, Seika learns that the dragon became violent once before when he and his wife had a baby, which doesn't explain his current violence since the wife died decades ago. That night, Celio summons Effa back to his room, but she refuses and decides to sleep in Seika's room, with her being too scared to sleep alone. She was hoping that Seika would decide to comfort her or to give her some words of reassurance, maybe in a confession, but she feels even worse when Seika reminds her the harem might be a good future for her, even though she is clearly in love with Seika. What comes next is literally craziness. Celio resorts to trying to buy Effa, as she is technically a slave, but Seika refuses this. Seika decides to visit the dragon's nest himself, leaving Effa alone, and I think we all know what is about to happen next. Celio's elf attendant, Lizzie, reveals to Effa that she has elf ancestors, with this being the reason that she has spiritual magic. Seika finds the dragon that has been violently attacking, with the dragon doing so due to having an egg, having become a female after his wife's death. Liz shows Effa the harem is actually a university for young ladies. One may become the queen one day, but most ended up becoming government officials, showing the different routes she could have. The dragon lets Seika help care for the egg. Effa decides to remain with Seika though. Basilio tries to force Effa to sign illegal papers to become his, assuming that he could simply buy her later on when Seika returns. Wow. So yeah, he's trying to forcibly take her. Yikes. There are like multiple crimes here. Seika suddenly appears with a dragon, and he rescues her. Having little context to exactly what's going on right now, Effa helps Seika capture Zech, who tried to steal the dragon. Effa helps Seika capture Zech, who tried to steal the egg, and then sell it later on. Celio decides to have the dragon killed anyways, hoping such a bold decision will strengthen his chance of him becoming king. But you're already the prince. You were already going to become king either way, so this just made no sense. Fed up by Celio's idiotic decision making and attempts to take Effa, he thoroughly scolds him over his treatment and abuse of power. Celio tries to retort, but eventually Liz actually agrees and apologizes to Seika and Effa, which she could have done, I don't know, any time in the last 2 episodes. Or, I don't know, any time before Seika even showed up here, since she's supposed to be like his attendant and actual guardian in a way. I don't know, she did a poor job. I'm not taking her apology. This guy's about to be a terrible king, I can already just tell. So Liz gives Effa several light spirits that are going to be able to provide her healing magic, and they return back to the academy. But elsewhere, a team of 5 powerful demons are set out to kill the hero. Seika's father asks to meet Amu. Seika is certain that politics are being involved by this. Seeing his brother again, Gray is actually a more well-rounded individual, with him actually taking a real liking to the army, but he still demands to have a rematch with Seika. But he instead duels Amu, who insists that he must fight her first. In this duel, Gray is able to win using a little trick, reminding her that he has a battle experience, and in a real fight, this is legal. Gray introduces Fiona, the kingdom's holy priestess, being a princess. Seika again is worried that politics are being involved by having Fiona, a daughter of the Empire. Seika realizes that Fiona resembles his wife from his past life. Seika is actually surprised his stepmother, who ignored him up to this point of his life, asked for him to stay in touch with them. Amu asks Seika about his plans after graduation, and is surprised that he intends to be an adventurer with her, with the two of them having a previous conversation about this a year ago in the cave. Fiona visits the nearby town, and is curious about romance, holding Seika's hand all day. Fiona is almost hurt by falling timber, but is saved by Gray and Amu, though she seems quite upset, with Seika not doing anything to protect her. Gray reveals to Seika that Fiona is a shrewd politician who's inherited her mother's magical ability to see glimpses into the future. Despite being a child of a mistress, she has schemed her way into being a very important figure in the Empire, becoming the royal heir and maybe the empress one day, potentially being the strongest person in their entire kingdom, with her also plotting something else while she's here, with this involving Amu and Seika. Seika tries to avoid Fiona, with him being cautious that her future visions may cause problems for him, but she insists on pestering him, so he relents and plays a game of chess with her, with Fiona who wins even though she's willingly playing with fewer pieces. As her prize for winning, she asks that Seika is going to be giving her a future favor. From her playstyle, Seika learns that she doesn't support the current political system and is purposely making herself popular with the general public. Seika decides to support her. Elsewhere, the demons defeat a group of bandits and eats them, revealing their identities. On their return to the academy, assassins disguised as bandits attack the carriage in order to kill Fiona, but with Seika's assistance, the assassins are captured alive. Fiona has foreseen the attack and will use the assassins' confessions against her political enemies. The assassins wait help. Fiona arrives home and cryptically asks that Seika remember her. No matter her actions, she'll always be on his side. Zora regrets having hid from his team, with her goal still being to kill the hero, with it almost certainly being a suicide mission. The principal elects Seika as the student representative to welcome the next first-year students. Seika decides to abandon his fear of drawing attention. After dealing with the approaching demons, the demons arrive at the academy in order to slaughter the hero, but find that the academy is covered by a confusing red fog. Zor decides to abandon the mission, only for Seika to appear. Zor, who can see a person's power, is terrified, with Seika beheading Murdev. First Laura's evil eye is also defeated by the demon servant, White Snake, whose own evil eye stops her heart. Lo-Ni attempts to tame the white snake, but is eaten. Zora reveals that Seika bears the title, Most Terrible Demon King. Hope and Gold gaze, who escape to tell the other demons Zora is obliterated by Seika's magic fire, and Gold gains, teleports away, but dies when Seika uses a substitution talisman to stab him through the heart. Who saw everything promises that she'll keep Seika's secret. At the ceremony to welcome in the new students, the Durak Knights of the Marquis Grievel announces Amu is under arrest for murdering a demon emissary who came here to visit the academy, who is under diplomatic immunity. Seika advises Amu to submit to the imprisonment temporarily. The principal confirms that politicians likely want the hero gone. Seika invades the Imperial prison, slaughtering soldiers, and he finds Amu. Amu naively believes that her innocence will be proven, so Seika reveals to her she's the hero, so her innocence is irrelevant, as her enemies will kill her without any regard for that. Gray and Fiona appear, admit to plotting Amu's death. The humans and demons are currently in a stalemate, so the existence of a hero could restart a war, so it's better off that Amu's dead. However, due to Seika protecting Amu has not yet been unlocked as the hero, and her full abilities are still locked away, so Fiona offers to return them to the academy. Seika realizes that this was all clearly a part of her plan, but they're doing this all along. They're never truly intending to have Amu killed, so he decides that he's going to be leaving the academy, going far away. Instead, Amu regrets not returning to the academy, but looks forward to starting this new career as an adventurer. Fiona talks to the entity hiding in her shadow, revealing that she knows that Seika is the future Demon King and will give his life to protect the hero. She arranges for Effa and Mabel to join Seika and Amu in becoming adventurers, doing so as a team. So that's where we're going to leave off on this video, and as always, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one, so I'll see you next time.